Manchester United preparing a record transfer for a Bundesliga prodigy. Pogba returns to the big game. The Frenchman's new club is already known. Messi back at Barca, truth or a beautiful fairy tale, and Neymar back at Santos. You heard that right. All this and much more in today's episode. Friends, let's get 500 thumbs up on this video. It will give us the motivation to keep making videos. So, enjoy the watching and let's begin. Have you ever thought about how football is like a giant puzzle? At first glance, it seems like adding one beautiful piece would only make the picture better, but in Madrid's case, the puzzle came together, let's say in a rather peculiar way. Mbappé, of course, is a star, but the cost of his shine isn't just measured in money. This summer, what Madrid fans had been waiting for years finally happened. Kylian Mbappé put on the white jersey. It seemed like Perez's dream had come true. Yet friends, dreams are one thing and reality is another story entirely. Remember how at the start of the season, Kylian looked, well, let's just say, out of place? At times, it even seemed as if he was fighting on the field all alone, against both his opponents and his own teammates. However, by mid-season, something clicked. Mbappé started showing that version of himself we've all grown used to, fast, ruthless, and deadly. But, as the saying goes, everything has its price. And in this case, the bill came for Vinicius. The Brazilian, who just last season was Real's brightest star, now seems like he's faded into the shadows. His game lacks the same spark, the same flair. Why? Because he's had to adjust to Mbappé. And honestly, it doesn't seem like Vinicius is too happy about it. But that's not all. Rodrygo, who has always been more of a team player, is also starting to show signs of dissatisfaction. Have you heard the rumors that he's looking for a bigger role, or at the very least, more freedom? Word on the street is that PSG is already rubbing their hands together, ready to offer him a deal this summer. And while it once seemed like the Parisians had become smarter and moved away from their habit of buying everyone in sight, the €70 million transfer of Kvicha proves otherwise. So, why not make Rodrygo their next big splash? This begs the question, what happens to Vinicius? Rumors about his potential transfer to Saudi Arabia have been swirling for a while now. And honestly, it doesn't even seem far-fetched anymore. The Saudis are ready to throw around so much money that even a club as galactic as Real might not be able to refuse. So, friends, the situation at Real Madrid right now feels like a high-budget TV series with scriptwriters who've slightly lost track of the plot. There's no doubt Mbappé is the central figure, but what's the cost for the rest of the team? What do you think? Is Real Madrid making the right choice by sacrificing Vinicius and Rodrygo for the sake of Mbappé, or is this just the beginning of another team overhaul? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think will leave first, Vinicius or Rodrygo? Or maybe both? Lionel Messi, a man who seems to have won it all, once again has us wondering, where will his journey take him next? Could it possibly be Barcelona? Based on the latest rumors, Leo might actually return to Catalonia, even if it's just for a few months. Yes, you heard that right. The King of Camp Nou could step onto the pitch once again in the iconic Blaugrana jersey to close out his story exactly where it began. According to Marca, Messi's new contract with Inter Miami might include a clause allowing him to go on loan to Europe. Imagine this, Leo packing his bags next summer and returning to the place where he is still hailed as a king. But here's the catch, this would only be a short-term, purely symbolic comeback. Why? It's simple. Messi is still haunted by the fact that he never got a proper chance to say goodbye to Barca. And Barcelona fans, for their part, still haven't forgiven the club's management for the unusual exit of their greatest legend. But here's the big question. How realistic is this? On one hand, it sounds like a beautiful fairy tale. On the other hand, Messi is under contract with Inter Miami until the end of 2025. And the club's owner, Jorge Mas, is highly unlikely to let his superstar go that easily. What's more, Messi is reportedly discussing a contract extension with Inter Miami that could potentially keep him there until 2026. But it seems Leo's heart has already made its choice. According to insiders, in private conversations, he's been saying outright, "My place is in Barcelona." And this brings us to another intriguing possibility. What's next for Messi? A comeback to Barca as a player would be one thing, but what if Messi plans to stay there after retiring? Picture him as the club's sporting director. Let's be honest, who better than Leo to negotiate with top-tier players? His reputation alone is like a Ballon d'Or for any conversation. Then there's David Beckham, who, rumor has it, has tried to convince Messi to remain with Miami even after retiring. but it seems the Argentine star is already envisioning himself somewhere near Camp Nou, strategizing his next chapter. This is where it gets really interesting. What does the future hold in the next few years? Messi is already 37, but he continues to surprise us. Will he return to Barca to play a few matches? Could it be just a symbolic gesture? Or might he jump directly into a leadership role, swapping the pitch for the boardroom? Let's admit it, Messi isn't just a Barca legend, he's a symbol of an entire era. His return wouldn't just be hype, it'd be an event that unites generations of fans. Now, here's the question for all of you. What do you think lies ahead for Messi? Will he return to Barca as a player, or will we see him in a suit as the club's sporting director? Or will he stay in the US for good? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to like if you want to see Leo back at Camp Nou. It seems that the January transfer window won't disappoint us. Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, and even Al Nassr are all vying to lure John Duran to their side. Chelsea made the first move by reaching out to Duran's agent to get a sense of the situation. But as the saying goes, not so fast. PSG stepped in and immediately came up with an intriguing offer. The French club is ready to include Marco Asensio in the deal, a player who, under Luis Enrique, has been spending more time on the bench than on the pitch. Tempting, isn't it? But it's far from a done deal. Additionally, PSG is reportedly prepared to spend up to 70 million euros. However, Aston Villa's asking price is significantly higher. They want 80 or even 90 million euros. This is where the real drama begins. PSG isn't just looking to buy the player, they're ready to push to the very limit to get their way. What about Duran himself? He apparently wanted to leave Villa earlier and had voiced concerns about his lack of game time. But in October, he signed a contract that ties him to the club until 2030. Seems like they convinced him to stay. Now though, Aston Villa is reluctant to let go of their gem. Still, what might happen in the final days of the transfer window remains a huge question mark. And then there's Al Nassr entering the scene with deep pockets and big ambitions. Rumour has it they're prepared to offer over £85 million. Now that's serious business. Can PSG outbid an offer like that? Or will Duran end up playing under the blazing Saudi Arabian sun? And let's be honest, including Asensio in the deal feels odd. Yes, he's a talented player, but it's hard to imagine Aston Villa agreeing to swap one of their brightest young forwards for someone who's clearly not in top form right now. So, friends, what do you think? How will this story end? Will Duran stay at Aston Villa, or will he head off to conquer Paris? Or perhaps the Middle Eastern giants Al Nassr will swoop in and steal him away. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to read them. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the hottest transfer rumors. Once upon a time, Paul Pogba was dazzling on Europe's biggest stages. Now, however, his name is making headlines not for spectacular goals or assists, but for his suspension. The 31-year-old French midfielder is currently a free agent, looking for a new club. But here's the big question: who's willing to take the risk? After all, Pogba cannot play until March due to his doping ban. And even then, everything will depend on whether he can rediscover his old form. According to reports, Pogba wants to continue his career exclusively at a club in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. On top of that, he set his sights on the Champions League. Ambitious? Definitely. But here's the problem. Pogba seems to understand that his current situation doesn't allow him to call the shots. He might have the desire, but the demand, well, that's a different story. Recently, there were rumours about Pogba returning to Manchester United. It sounded like the plot of a soap opera. The club that moved on from him suddenly shocked by the idea of taking him back. But those talks quickly fizzled out. Meanwhile, Marseille, according to their coach Roberto De Zerbi, has left the door slightly open, but with one condition: Pogba has to prove that he's still capable of contributing. Another rumour emerged, suggesting that Pogba turned down an offer from Newcastle. What? Why? The Magpies were reportedly eager to make him their marquee signing for the winter transfer window. But according to Spanish media, Pogba is looking for other opportunities. Could the Stade Velodrome become his new stage? Marseille won't be in the Champions League this season, but a return to Europe's biggest competition in 2025 might sound like a more realistic target. So what's next? The Saudi Pro League? MLS, or will Pogba stick with Europe? Right now, he's like an actor without a stage, ready to step back into the spotlight. The only question is whether the audience is willing to buy tickets to his next show. What do you think? Who will take the gamble on Pogba? And most importantly, can he still deliver? It seems like Neymar has decided to shake the Saudi desert dust off his boots and return home, to Santos. Yes, the very same Santos where he once dreamed of great victories as a young boy. Let's recap how things unfolded. Not too long ago, in the summer of 2023, Neymar was lighting it up at Al Hilal. Well, lighting it up might be a stretch, more like a sparkler that fizzled out quickly. Injuries, confusion, 7 matches in a year and a half, that's it. 7 matches for that kind of money. You have to admit, it's a strange story. And now, it looks like Neymar's Saudi starring role is coming to an end before it even really began. According to Fabrizio Romano, Santos and Al Hilal have already reached a verbal agreement. All that's left is to finalize the legal details. What are the options? Contract termination? A loan deal? But the most surprising part is that Neymar has reportedly agreed to a massive pay cut. Now that's a twist. After earning Saudi millions, slashing your income like that is quite a move. But hey, what wouldn't you do to return to your roots, right? Maybe he's missed the Brazilian fans, the smell of coffee on the shores of Copacabana, instead of, well, what he's been dealing with lately. Of course, there's also talk that Neymar is losing around $65 million by terminating his contract. But rumor has it he might partially offset those losses with shares in Santos. A clever move, no doubt. But to be honest, the whole stock thing sounds a bit far-fetched right now. More likely, it's about something else. Neymar just wants to play. He's 32, his career is flying by like a high-speed train, and he's either sitting on the bench or lying in the medical ward. So friends, Neymar's return to Santos is practically a done deal at this point. We're just waiting for the official confirmation. And here's the big question. Do you think Neymar will be able to restart his career at Santos? Can he turn back the clock and prove he's still got what it takes? Florian Wirtz, the star of Bayer Leverkusen, is on Manchester United's radar. Rumours that United have set their sights on this 21-year-old talent have been circulating for a while now. And here's the latest update from Fischages. United's management is reportedly seriously considering Wirtz as a way to strengthen their attack. And you know what? That's easy to believe. Let's be honest. The current United forwards are scoring more in practice matches than in actual games. And creativity in the midfield. Well, you've seen it for yourself. In short, they desperately need a wizard to turn things around. And that's where Wirtz comes in. This guy is tearing up the Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso has even compared him to Lionel Messi, saying he sees the field like a god and works pure magic with the ball. It's a bold comparison for sure, but Wirtz's stats back it up. 14 goals and 9 assists this season. The guy is on fire. Now, the big question. Can Manchester United afford a player like this? The transfer fee is rumoured to be around £125 million. That's, well, about the price of 3 Harry Maguires, for those who like comparisons based on United signings. On top of that, all of Europe's top clubs are lining up for Wirtz. Bayern, Real Madrid, City, Arsenal. The competition is fierce. But then again, what does United really have to lose? Manchester United is still a club with a storied history, a recognizable global brand, and, supposedly, enough money to make a deal happen. Plus, potential sales of players like Rashford and Garnacho could bring in solid funds. So, Wirtz is exactly the kind of player who fits the style Ruben Amorim is looking to implement. A playmaker who can score goals and provide key passes, tailor-made for what United desperately needs. Just think about it. Besides Bruno Fernandes, who else in this team is creating anything meaningful? Exactly. But there's one problem. Wirtz might be open to extending his contract with Bayer Leverkusen, and if that happens, his price will skyrocket. There's also another issue. Can United even convince him to make the move? Let's be honest here. They're not exactly at their best right now. Next season, Champions League football is more of a dream than a given, and for young rising stars like Wirtz, that's a huge factor. Who wants to spend a year playing in the Europa League or, God forbid, missing out on European football entirely? Worse still, imagine if United keeps spiraling and ends up in the Championship. So, the situation is as complicated as United's defensive setup against top teams. But hope dies last, right? Wirtz is a cosmic level talent, And if United manages to sign him, it could be like a breath of fresh air for a team suffocating under uninspired play. What do you think? Should United go all in for Wirtz? Can they beat out offers from other top clubs? And most importantly, do you believe Wirtz is the kind of player United needs to bring back their sparkle on the pitch? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest updates on transfer rumours. Who would have thought that Bournemouth would become the dark horse of the Premier League? And that 19-year-old Dean Huijsen would be the one to turn their defence into a real fortress. The guy moved from Juventus for just £12.8 million and is now making waves in England. 2 goals, 17 matches and a fight for the Champions League. Yes, Bournemouth is just 1 point away from the top 4. When was the last time something like this happened? Since Huijsen started pairing up with Ilya Zabarny, the Cherries have conceded the fewest goals in the league. Is this a new version of Van Dijk and Matip? But let's get to the main point. The guy has caught the attention of top clubs. Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. It seems like only Barcelona hasn't declared their interest yet. Or maybe they're just waiting for Fabrizio Romano to give his iconic "here we go." Speaking of Fabrizio, he's confirmed that Chelsea is seriously interested. But there's a catch. Huijsen is under contract until 2030. Can you imagine how that sounds? Like a promise to stay loyal until the end. But rumor has it there's a release clause activating this summer. The fee hasn't been disclosed, but Spanish media are whispering about €65 million. A bit pricey for a rookie, or is that just the price for the future of defence? Now imagine Huijsen in a Chelsea shirt. Maresca is building a new backline, but they already have plenty of defenders. Why would they need another one? Is it part of a rebuild or just collecting talent? Well, while Chelsea makes plans, Bournemouth is holding the line. A January sale is out of the question, especially with injuries in the squad. But come summer, if someone makes a generous offer, the club will have to think about it. So, what do you think? Where will Huijsen end up? The glamour of Madrid? The stability of Munich? Or will he remain the hero of Little Bournemouth? Marcus Rashford is ready to challenge his destiny. According to Mundo Deportivo, the forward dreams of playing for Barcelona and is even willing to take a pay cut to make a loan move to Catalonia happen. Yes, the same Rashford who earns £325,000 a week. A pay cut? For some that might be shocking, but for Marcus, it's a ticket to a new opportunity. But how realistic is this deal? Barca, it seems, would be happy to take the Englishman, but there are a couple of hurdles. Financial fair play is choking the Catalan club more than ever. Just remember the recent issues they had registering Dani Olmo. Rashford could find himself caught in the same maze. Plus, Manchester United reportedly wants Barca to cover at least half of Marcus's wages. That's £162,500 a week, by the way. For a club that's already stretching every penny, this could become a major issue. But there's another twist. Rashford isn't just dreaming of the Spanish sun. He turned down offers from the Saudi Pro League to stay in Europe. Why? It's simple. He wants to fight for a place back in the England national team. However, that's easier said than done, especially with Thomas Tuchel unlikely to hand out call-ups without justification. Marcus will have to prove he's not just a shadow of his former self. And here's where the challenge comes in. At Barca, he'd be competing with Lewandowski, Rafinha and Yamal. Breaking into that lineup won't be easy. Still, on paper, this move has upsides for everyone. United offloads a player they no longer see as essential, Barca gets fresh talent, at least in theory, and Rashford gets a shot at resetting his career. But this deal is full of ifs. Will Manchester United be flexible? Can Barca figure out how to register him? And most importantly, can Rashford actually get back to his best? Finally, let's admit it. There's a faint whiff of fantasy around this whole story. It's a bit like dreaming of a trip to Paris when you can barely afford the local bus fare. But who knows? Football has a way of surprising us. What do you think? Is Rashford's move to Barca realistic, or is it just another rumour that'll fizzle out in a week? Share your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you want to see more transfer rumours, and don't forget to subscribe. Who knows whose transfer we'll talk about next? Football, folks, is no ballet. If you're losing at home to Leicester, and at such a crucial moment, well, things are heating up at Tottenham. Spurs boss Ange Postecoglou seems to have caught a whiff of the smoke himself. He admitted his job is under threat, and the fans are furious. He says the team is at rock bottom, as low as it gets. The same fans who were singing his praises not so long ago now seem ready to change their tune. But Postecoglou isn't giving up. He's praising the players, saying they're still capable of something special. Makes you wonder, though, what exactly does he mean by special? A particularly spectacular drop down the table. Meanwhile, the board, led by the tireless Daniel Levy, is still standing by Postecoglou. For now, they believe in the project and are blaming everything on injuries. And injuries? Spurs are dealing with so many absentees, it feels like the team's running a field hospital instead of a football club. 10 first-team players out injured. Even the most optimistic manager would be feeling the strain in this situation. But as they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Rumors of a potential managerial change are already swirling. And guess who's popped up as a possible replacement? Erik ten Hag. Yes, the very same Ten Hag who was recently let go by Manchester United. Now that's a twist. After the fireworks at United, he's being linked with saving Tottenham. Talk about trading one problem for another, or maybe Levy is ready to roll the dice with his sink or swim approach. Of course, for now, it's all just speculation and Postecoglou is still in the hot seat. But as they say, the throne is shaking. The upcoming matches will be like a survival exam for him. If there are no results, heads will roll, and fans are left wondering, who can save Spurs, and can anyone save them at all? What do you think, folks? How much longer will Ange last at the helm of Tottenham? And who would you want to see take his place? Share your thoughts in the comments.